Lady Hana stood at the large window of her private room on the space station. Her three-fingered hand pressed against the cold glass as she watched her husband's royal ship grow smaller and smaller in the distance. Soon it was just a tiny light among the stars. Then it vanished completely. He had left her behind. Prince Day of the Meridian Empire had finally done what everyone had whispered about for years. He had abandoned his ugly wife on a remote space station during their trip to visit other worlds. Hana's skin was covered in small, shiny scales like all Meridians. But her scales had purple markings instead of the normal blue color. This difference was seen as a terrible flaw among her people, who cared deeply about physical beauty. For 7 long years she had suffered the cruelty of the royal court, and watched as her husband grew more and more disgusted by her appearance. "Your Highness?" a voice called from the doorway. It was the last station worker preparing to leave. "The final transport departs in 10 minutes. Thank you for the reminder," Hana said, keeping her voice steady. "I will remain here as planned to oversee the station's final operations." The worker bowed and left. Hana was sure the worker knew this was a lie. Everyone on the prince's staff knew what was happening. No one had dared to speak against it. When the door closed, Hana finally allowed herself to sink to the floor. Her formal robes, heavy with golden threads and jewels, spread around her like a pool of expensive fabric. The clothing was worth more than most people would earn in years, but it couldn't save her now. She touched the communication device on her wrist and tried again to send a message. The screen flashed red. Access denied. Prince Day had turned off all her royal codes before leaving. She had no way to call for help. Hana took a deep breath and tried to think clearly. The space station was scheduled to be shut down in exactly 22 days. After that, it would be taken apart for materials. No supply ships would come. No one would answer communications. The prince had planned her death carefully. A tragic accident would happen to his unfortunate wife, and he would be free to marry someone worthy of standing beside him. She stood up and walked to the storage room. Inside, she found emergency supplies meant for the station's normal crew of 30 people. Now those supplies would have to sustain just one person. Hana counted the ration packs carefully. If she ate one small meal per day, she might survive for 3 weeks. After that, Hana refused to cry. Crying was considered shameful for Meridian royalty. Even now, alone and abandoned, she kept her royal training. Instead, she began to make a plan. She would record everything that happened. She would document Prince Day's crime. Even if she couldn't survive, maybe someone would find her records someday. She returned to her room and looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there was her home planet, where she had once been a beloved daughter of a noble family before her marriage. Her family had been honored when Prince Day chose her, not knowing he only wanted their political connections. Once those connections were secure, she became useless to him. "I am still Lady Hana of House Tay," she whispered to herself. "I will die with dignity." Over the next 3 days, Hana explored every part of the space station. Most areas were already shut down, with machines turned off and rooms empty of furniture. The air was growing colder as the heating system used less power. She gathered all the blankets she could find and moved them to the central control room, which still had emergency power. On the 4th day, as she was checking the remaining food supplies again, Hana heard a strange noise. At first, she thought it was just the station making sounds as metal parts cooled in the lower temperatures, but then she realized it was coming from the communication system. Someone was trying to contact the station. Hana ran to the control panel and pressed the receive button. Static filled the room. Then a voice came through, speaking a language she didn't understand. The translation system had been turned off with the main power. "Hello?" she said in her own language. "This is Lady Hana of the Meridian Empire. I need help." More static. Then the voice came again, this time with words she could partially understand. The speaker was trying to use basic Meridian diplomatic language. "Station, identify, approaching, permission?" Hana's heart beat faster. Someone was near the station. But who? Meridian ships wouldn't come here for weeks, not until the demolition was scheduled to begin. She pressed the button to activate the external cameras. Most were offline, but one still worked. On the screen, she saw a ship she didn't recognize. It was smaller than Meridian vessels and had a different shape. On its side were strange symbols she couldn't read. It was an alien ship. Meridians rarely had contact with other species. The Empire kept strict borders and limited outside influence. Hana had only seen pictures of aliens in education materials, never in person. Now, one of their ships was approaching the station where she had been, left to die, should she respond. Meridian law forbade unauthorized contact with non-Meridians, but Meridian law had already abandoned her to die alone in space. Hana made her decision. She pressed the communication button. "Unknown ship," she said slowly and clearly. "This is Lady Hana of the Meridian Empire. I am alone on this station. The station is scheduled for demolition. I need help." There was a long pause. Hana held her breath. Then the voice came back, clearer this time. "Lady Hana, this is Captain Jin, Kim of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We are receiving your transmission. Please explain your situation. Earth." Hana had heard of this planet. Meridians considered humans to be primitive and dangerous. But right now these humans were her only hope. "Captain Jin Kim," she said, her voice growing stronger. "I have been left here without transport or supplies. In 3 weeks this station will be destroyed. I request your assistance." Another pause. Hana could imagine the alien captain considering the diplomatic problems of helping her. Interfering with a Meridian royal could cause serious trouble between their worlds. Finally, the captain's voice returned. "Lady Hana, we will help you. Prepare for our arrival. I'm sending a shuttle to dock with your station in 1 hour." Tears filled Hana's eyes, but this time she didn't hold them back. An alien, a human, was coming to save her when her own people had left her to die. She looked out at the stars one more time, but now they didn't seem so cold and distant. Help was coming. Captain Jin Kim of the Earthship Pathfinder was not supposed to be in this part of space. His ship had been knocked off course by a strange pull from gravity that their computers had not predicted. Now they needed to fix their travel systems. Before continuing their journey, Jin stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at the image of the space station on the main screen. It was clearly of Meridian design, all sharp angles and shiny metal that reflected the distant stars. The Meridians were known to be very private and did not like other species entering their territory. Jin's ship was the only human vessel allowed to travel in this region, and only because Earth scientists wanted to study some unusual space events happening nearby. "Captain, are you sure this is wise?" asked his second-in-command, Officer Lee. "The Meridians do not like outsiders interfering in their business. Helping one of their people without permission could cause trouble." Jin nodded, but did not change his mind. "I know the risks, Lee, but we can't leave someone to die alone in space when we have the power to help." "The life sign readings are strange," said the science officer, a woman named Min. "The person is definitely Meridian, but their biology shows some differences from what we have in our database." Jin remembered the voice of Lady Hana. She had spoken with perfect manners even while asking for help. Something about her situation felt wrong to him. Why would a royal Meridian be left alone on a station marked for destruction? "Prepare the rescue shuttle," Jin ordered. "I will go myself." "Captain, I must officially advise against this," said Lee. The Meridian Empire could see this as kidnapping one of their citizens. Jin looked at his friend and officer. "Your concern is noted, but I would rather face Meridian anger than ignore someone who needs help." The small rescue shuttle left the Pathfinder and traveled toward the space station. Jin piloted it himself, watching as the docking area came into view. The station's lights were dim, with many sections completely dark. It looked abandoned except for the single area where power still worked. The shuttle connected to the station with a soft bump. Jin put on his breathing mask, just in case the air inside was not good for humans. He opened the door and stepped through into the Meridian station. Lady Hana was waiting for him. Jin stopped and stared for a moment, surprised by her appearance. He had seen pictures of Meridians before, but Lady Hana looked different from those images. Like all meridians, she was tall and thin with pale skin covered in small, shiny scales. But where most meridians had blue patterns on their scales, Hana's were a rich purple color that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. Her face was shaped like a heart, with large eyes that were completely black. She wore formal clothes that looked too fancy for the empty station. Jin bowed, trying to remember the proper meridian greeting. "Lady Hana, I am Captain Jin Kim of Earth. I have come to offer assistance." Hana returned the bow, lower than Jin expected from someone of royal rank. "Captain Kim, I thank you for your help. I did not expect anyone to answer my call." "Please, tell me what happened here," Jin said. "Why are you alone on this station?" Hana's face showed no emotion, but her hands tightened into fists. "My husband, Prince Day, left me here 4 days ago. He disabled my communication access and took all transport ships. The station is scheduled for destruction in 18 days. Jin was shocked. "Your husband abandoned you to die?" "Yes," Hana said simply. "My appearance is considered unacceptable among my people. My purple scale coloring is seen as a mutation, a flaw. The prince married me for my family's political power, but now he no longer needs that connection. My death would allow him to marry again." Jin tried to hide his horror at her calm explanation. Among humans, such an act would be murder. He had heard that Meridian culture was different, but this seemed beyond cruel. "Lady Hana, I offer you safe passage on my ship. We can take you wherever you wish to go." Hana looked surprised for the first time. "You would risk helping me? The Meridian Empire will not be pleased if you interfere." "I cannot leave you here to die," Jin said firmly. "That would be wrong." Hana studied his face carefully. Jin realized she was trying to understand if he had some hidden reason for helping her. Finally, she nodded. "I accept your offer, Captain Kim, but I must warn you that helping me may bring trouble to you and your crew." "We'll handle that when the time comes," Jin said. "Do you need to bring anything with you?" Hana gestured to a small bag near her feet. "I have already packed the few things I wish to keep. Everything else belongs to the Empire." As they walked back to the shuttle, Jin noticed that Hana moved with perfect grace, despite the emotional situation. Her royal training was obvious in every step. On the shuttle, Hana sat quietly looking out the window at the station as they pulled away. Jin wondered what she was thinking as she watched her intended grave grow smaller behind them. When they returned to the Pathfinder, Jin's crew was waiting. They tried not to stare at their unusual guest, but Jin saw their curious looks. Most of them had never seen a Meridian before. "Lady Hana, these are my officers," Jin said, introducing them one by one. "They will help make your stay comfortable." Officer Min stepped forward. "I've prepared a room for you, Lady Hana. Our ship is not as fancy as what you're used to, but we hope you'll be comfortable." "Thank you," Hana said. "Your kindness is unexpected, but very welcome." Later, when Hana was settled in her room, Jin called a meeting with his senior officers. "We need to decide our next steps," he said. "The Meridians will discover what we've done eventually." "We could contact Earth for instructions," suggested Lee. "By the time we get an answer, it might be too late," Jin replied. "No, we need to, make this decision ourselves. The closest Earth outpost is the colony on Proxima B," said the navigation officer. "We could take her there while we wait for official word from Earth." Jin nodded. "Set course for Proxima B maximum speed." As the Pathfinder changed direction and increased speed, Jin went to check on their guest. He found Hana standing at the window in her room looking out at the stars. "Are you comfortable, Lady Hana?" he asked. She turned to face him. "Yes, Captain. Your ship is different from Meridian vessels, but it feels warmer somehow." "We're heading to an Earth colony," Jin explained. "There we can contact Earth's government about your situation." "And if they refuse to help me?" Hana asked. Her voice was calm, but Jin could see worry in her eyes. "Then I will find another way," Jin promised. "You will not be abandoned again." For the first time, Hana smiled. It was small but genuine, transforming her alien face in a way that Jin found surprisingly beautiful. "In my culture, Captain, such a promise would bind you for life," she said. Jin smiled back. "Then I make it gladly." Neither of them knew that at that moment Prince Day's ship was sending messages throughout the Meridian Empire, claiming that his wife had been kidnapped by human pirates. The prince's perfect plan was falling apart, and he would stop at nothing to fix it, even if it meant starting a war between their worlds. Hana pressed her face to the window as the Earthship Pathfinder began its landing at the human colony on Proxima B. She had never seen a human world before. The buildings below were different from Meridian designs. They curved and flowed with the landscape instead of standing tall and straight. "It's beautiful," she said quietly. Captain Jin stood beside her. "It's one of our newer colonies. About 5,000 people live here." "Are they all humans?" Hana asked. Jin smiled. "No, we have settlers from 12 different worlds here. Humans believe in working together with other species." This idea was strange to Hana. Meridians kept themselves separate from other species whenever possible. They believed mixing with aliens weakened their culture. The ship landed smoothly on a large pad near the edge of the colony. Hana felt nervous. What if the humans treated her the way her own people had? What if they stared at her purple scales and whispered about her ugliness? Jin seemed to sense her worry. "The people here are used to seeing different species. They won't be rude about your appearance." "How did you know I was thinking about that?" Hana asked, surprised. "Your hands," Jin pointed. "You touch your face when you're worried about how you look." Hana quickly dropped her hands. On the Pathfinder, she had started to relax around the human crew. They never stared at her purple markings. Instead, several had actually told her they found the color beautiful. At first she thought they were lying to be polite, but their words seemed genuine. The main door of the ship opened, and Jin led Hana down the ramp to the landing pad. A small group of officials waited for them. A tall woman with gray hair stepped forward. "Captain Kim, welcome to Proxima Colony," she said. Then she turned to Hana and made a perfect Meridian greeting bow. "Lady Hana, I am Governor Su. We are honored by your presence." Hana returned the bow, surprised that the human knew Meridian customs. "Thank you for your welcome, Governor Su. We have prepared a place for you to stay," the governor said. "I understand your situation is complicated. Earth Central Government has been informed and wishes to speak with you." As they walked through the colony, Hana noticed people watching her. But unlike on her homeworld, their looks were curious, not disgusted. A small child pointed at her and said loudly, "Mom, look at her pretty purple skin." Instead of scolding the child for rudeness as a Meridian parent would, the mother smiled at Hana and said, "I'm sorry. My daughter speaks her mind." "It's fine," Hana said, feeling strange. No one had ever called her purple scales pretty before. They arrived at a building near the center of the colony. Inside was a comfortable living space with large windows showing a garden. "These will be your quarters," Governor Su explained. "Captain Kim's ship will remain here until we receive instructions from Earth. You are our guest, not our prisoner. You may go anywhere in the public areas of the colony." After the governor left, Jin stayed behind for a moment. "Will you be all right here?" he asked. Hana nodded. "Your people have been kind. It's very different from what I expected. I'll check on you tomorrow," Jin promised. "Try to rest." When she was alone, Hana explored her new living space. It was smaller than her royal rooms on Meridia, but much warmer and more comfortable. There were books in several languages, including basic Meridian. The humans had thought of everything. She was about to rest when the communication screen on the wall lit up. A message had arrived. Hana pressed the button to play it. The screen showed an official-looking human with a serious face. "Lady Hana, I am Director Park of Earth's Diplomatic Corps. I regret to inform you that the Meridian Empire has accused Captain Kim of kidnapping you. They demand your immediate return." Hana felt cold fear. This was what she had worried about. "Prince Day is lying," she said. "I was abandoned to die." Director Park nodded. "Captain Kim has explained your situation. Earth does not return people to face death. We have refused their demand. What will happen now? Hana asked. The Meridians have cut off diplomatic ties with Earth and closed their borders. There may be more serious consequences. I must ask you, Lady Hana, are you seeking asylum on Earth? Hana hadn't thought that far ahead. Asylum meant never returning to her homeworld. It meant becoming an alien forever. I need time to consider, she said finally. Of course, Director Park replied. But please understand that your decision will affect relations between our worlds. After the call ended, Hana sat by the window, watching the sky darken as night fell on the colony. She felt heavy with responsibility. Her husband had wanted her to disappear quietly. Now her survival was causing trouble between worlds. The next morning, a medical team asked to examine her. The human doctor, a woman named Dr. Yu, was respectful and gentle. Your overall health is good, Dr. Yu said afterward, but you show signs of long-term stress and poor nutrition. Were you being properly cared for in the royal court? Hana looked away. My place at court was difficult. My food was often forgotten by the servants. Dr. Yu's face showed anger, but her voice stayed calm. That's abuse, Lady Hana. No one should be treated that way. That afternoon, Captain Jin took Hana on a tour of the colony. They walked through gardens where plants from many worlds grew together. They visited a school where children of different species played together. Everywhere they went, people greeted them with smiles. Your world is so different from mine, Hana said as they sat in a small eating place. Meridians believe in perfection and sameness. Everyone must look and act the same way. Jin looked thoughtful. Humans used to think that way too a long time ago. We learned that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. Even my purple scales? Hana asked, only half joking. Especially those, Jin said seriously. Several of our scientists have asked if they could study your unique coloring. They think it might have special properties. Hana nearly choked on her drink. Study me? Why would anyone care about my defect? It's not a defect, Jin said firmly. It's a difference. And differences are often the start of new discoveries. Before Hana could respond, Jin's communication device beeped. His face grew serious as he read the message. What's wrong? Hana asked. A Meridian warship has entered our star system, Jin said. Prince Day is on board. He's demanding we hand you over immediately. Hana felt her chest tighten with fear. What will you do? Jin looked her in the eyes. What do you want us to do, Hana? This is your life, your choice. No one had ever asked Hana what she wanted before. Her family had chosen her husband. The court had decided how she should dress and act. Prince Day had decided she should die. Now this human was giving her a choice. I want to stay, she said, her voice growing stronger. I want asylum on Earth. Jin smiled and took her hand. His warm fingers felt strange against her cool scales, but not unpleasant. Then we'll make it happen. You're not alone anymore. As they walked back to her quarters, Hana realized something had changed inside her. For the first time in her life, she wasn't ashamed of her purple scales. For the first time, she felt like she might belong somewhere, even if that somewhere was an alien world. 3 days after Prince Day's warship arrived, Hana sat in a meeting room with Captain Jin, Governor Su, and several Earth officials. Outside the window, she could see the Meridian ship floating in space above the colony. Its sharp, pointed shape reminded her of a hunting knife. The prince refuses to leave without you, Governor Su explained. He claims that as your husband, he has the right to take you home. I won't go back, Hana said. Her voice was quiet but firm. He left me to die. Director Park, who joined by video screen from Earth, nodded. We have granted your request for asylum. Under Earth law, no one can force you to return to a situation where your life is in danger. The Meridians won't accept that, Jin said, looking worried. Their culture gives husbands complete control over their wives. Not our problem, said a military officer named General Ho. Earth doesn't follow Meridian law. The tension in the room grew as they discussed options. The Meridian ship carried weapons that could damage the colony. A war between Earth and the Meridian Empire would cost many lives. All because of her. Maybe I should go back, Hana said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. I don't want people to die because of me. Jin shook his head. You know what will happen if you return. Before anyone could say more, a young woman hurried into the room. She wore a white coat like Dr. Yu, but she was younger. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said, but I need to speak with Lady Hana right away. It's important. Governor Su looked annoyed. Dr. Jun, we're in the middle of a serious discussion. This can't wait, Dr. Jun insisted. It's about Lady Hana's purple scales. Hana tensed. Even here, would her difference cause problems? Dr. Jun approached her with an excited smile. Lady Hana, we've been studying the skin samples you allowed us to take. May I show you what we found? Hana nodded, curious despite her worry. Dr. Jun placed a small device on the table. It projected an image in the air showing tiny purple scales magnified many times. Your purple coloring isn't a defect, Dr. Jun explained. It's an incredible adaptation. Look at this. She touched the device, and the image changed to show the purple scales glowing slightly. What am I seeing? Hana asked. Your scales can absorb and process toxins that would kill most meridians, Dr. Jun said. It's why they turn purple. We believe it's actually an evolutionary advantage, not a flaw. The room went quiet. Hana stared at the image, trying to understand. But all meridians with purple scales are considered defective. We're hidden away or removed from society. Dr. Jun looked sad. That's a terrible mistake. Your adaptation could save lives. Your scales can neutralize poisons found on many worlds, including some that affect both humans and meridians. Are you certain? Director Park asked from the screen. Completely, Dr. Jun replied. We've already used cells from Lady Hana's scales to create a test treatment for a poison that's been affecting miners on 3 different planets. It works perfectly. Hana felt dizzy. All her life she had been taught that her purple scales made her ugly and worthless. Now this human doctor was saying they were valuable, special. There's more, Dr. Jun continued. We checked the medical records from other meridians with purple scaling. They're extremely resistant to diseases and poisons. That's probably why the adaptation appeared in the first place. General Ho stood up. This changes everything. The meridians value useful biology, even if it looks different. If we can prove Lady Hana's condition is beneficial, they might change their view of her. And if they don't? Jin asked. Then we have something they want, Governor Su said. Medical treatments based on Lady Hana's unique biology. Hana hardly heard the rest of the discussion. Her mind was spinning with the new information. Her purple scales weren't ugly. They were special, useful. She wasn't defective. She was advanced. Later that day, Hana met with Dr. Jun in her laboratory. The room was filled with strange equipment and glowing screens. Dr. Jun showed her more test results. With your permission, we could develop medicines using the special properties of your scales, Dr. Jun explained. They would help both humans and meridians. My permission? Hana repeated. You're asking me? Dr. Jun looked surprised. Of course, it's your body. Your choice. Another choice. Humans kept giving her choices. If I agree, what happens next? Hana asked. We create the medicines. You would be listed as the primary contributor. That means you would receive credit for the discovery and payment for each treatment made. Payment? Hana had never earned her own money before. As a royal wife, everything had belonged to her husband. Yes, Dr. Jun smiled. And based on how useful these treatments could be, you would become quite wealthy. Hana thought for a moment. I want to help. Use my scales to make the medicines. The next few weeks passed in a blur of activity. Hana spent hours in Dr. Jun's laboratory, learning about human science and medicine. She discovered she had a talent for understanding complex biological systems. Dr. Jun began teaching her how to use the laboratory equipment. You're a natural scientist, Dr. Jun told her. You should consider studying medicine formally. Me? A doctor? Hana laughed. On my world, women of royal rank don't work. You're not on your world anymore, Dr. June reminded her. On Earth, you can be whatever you want to be. Meanwhile, Earth officials continued negotiations with Prince Day. They revealed the medical discoveries based on Hana's purple scales, hoping it would change his mind about her value. It didn't. The prince has remarried already, Jin told Hana, one evening as they walked through the colony garden. He chose a perfect Meridian noblewoman with the correct blue scale pattern. He appears on broadcasts regularly, talking about how humans kidnapped his beloved wife. He never loved me, Hana said. He barely spoke to me when we were alone. The Meridian Emperor has gotten involved now, Jin continued. He's demanding proof of our medical claims. We can provide that, Hana said. The treatments work. We've tested them thoroughly. Jin smiled at her. Listen to you saying we. You've become quite the scientist. Hana realized he was right. She had changed in her time with the humans. She stood straighter. She spoke her mind. She didn't hide her purple scales anymore. A week later, a message arrived from the Meridian Emperor himself. He requested a private conversation with Hana. With Jin and Governor Su beside her for support, Hana accepted the call. The Emperor's face appeared on the screen. He was older than Hana remembered, his blue-scaled face lined with age. Lady Hana, he said formally. I see you are well. Yes, Your Majesty, she replied with a perfect court bow. These humans claim your purple scales have medical value. Is this true? It is, Your Majesty. I have seen the evidence myself. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Prince Day said you were kidnapped against your will. Is that true? Hana took a deep breath. Once she would have been too afraid to contradict a royal story, but she wasn't that person anymore. No, Your Majesty. Prince Day abandoned me on a space station scheduled for destruction. He left me to die because he was ashamed of my purple scales. Captain Jin rescued me. The Emperor's face showed no emotion, but his eyes narrowed slightly. I see. And now you help these humans create medicine from your defect. It is not a defect, Hana said, surprising herself with her boldness. It is an adaptation that could help many people, including Meridians. The Emperor studied her for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. You have changed, Lady Hana. Perhaps like your scales, it is an adaptation that will prove useful. The screen went dark. Hana looked at Jin and Governor Su. What does this mean? She asked. Governor Su smiled. I think it means we might avoid a war after all. That night, Hana stood at the window of her quarters looking up at the stars. Somewhere among them was her homeworld, where she had suffered for being different. Now that difference might become a bridge between worlds. And it all happened because a human captain decided to answer a distress call from an alien he'd never met. 3 years passed since Hana first arrived on the human colony. During that time, she had changed in ways she never imagined possible. She studied human medicine and science. She learned how to use her unique biology to create treatments for diseases and poisons. She even earned a position as a research assistant in Dr. June's laboratory. Most importantly, she had found her own voice. Today, Hana stood in front of a mirror, looking at her reflection. She wore an Earth-style formal suit in dark blue with purple trim that matched her scales. Her hair, once kept long as required for Meridian royal wives, was now cut short in a style she found more practical for laboratory work. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Come in, she called. Jin entered, also dressed formally. Over the years, he had been promoted to admiral for his diplomatic work between Earth and the Meridian Empire. His hair now had a few gray strands at the temples, but his eyes were as kind as ever. Are you ready? He asked. Hana took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Today was the day she would return to Meridian space for the first time since her rescue. The treatments developed from her unique biology had proven so valuable that the Meridian Emperor himself had requested a formal medical diplomatic mission. Hana would lead the Earth delegation. You don't have to do this, Jin reminded her. Someone else could go. Hana shook her head. No, it needs to be me. The medicines came from my body. The research was partly my work, and the Meridians need to see what I've become. They walked together to the spaceport where a large Earth diplomatic ship waited. A team of 20 scientists and diplomats would travel with them, carrying medicines to treat a mysterious illness spreading through Meridian colonies. Dr. June met them at the boarding ramp. The medicine containers are all secured, she reported. We have enough to treat 10,000 patients, Hana nodded. Thank you, Doctor. Your work has been essential to this mission. Our work, Dr. June corrected with a smile. You're as much a scientist as any of us now. The journey to Meridian space took 2 weeks. During that time, Hana helped the team prepare for their diplomatic meetings. Many of the humans had never met Meridians before and were nervous about the strict cultural rules. Remember to never touch a Meridian without permission, Hana explained during one briefing, and try not to stare at their scale patterns even if you find them beautiful. What about your purple scales? Asked a young scientist. Will they be rude about them? Hana smiled. Probably, but I don't care anymore. My scales have saved lives. Their opinion of their color doesn't matter to me now. As their ship approached the Meridian capital world, Hana stood at the main window. The planet below was just as she remembered. Smooth cities of white stone and metal, carefully arranged in perfect geometric patterns. It's beautiful, Jin said, standing beside her. But very different from Earth cities. Meridians value order and sameness, Hana explained. Everything and everyone must fit the pattern. Except you, Jin said softly. Hana smiled. Except me. The Earthship landed at the main spaceport of the capital city. Through the windows, Hana could see a large Meridian delegation waiting for them. At the center stood the Emperor himself, easily identified by his ornate golden robes. The Emperor rarely greets visitors personally, she told Jin. This is a great honor. Jin squeezed her hand quickly. Remember, no matter what happens, you have a home with us. Hana led the Earth delegation down the ramp. She walked with her head high, making no attempt to hide her purple scales. Behind her came Jin, Dr. June, and the rest of the team. The Meridian Emperor stepped forward. He was older than when Hana had last seen him in person, but his posture was still perfect. Lady Hana, he said formally. Welcome back to Meridian space. Hana made the perfect court bow she had been taught as a child. Your Majesty, I bring greetings from Earth and medicines for your people. The Emperor studied her for a long moment. You have changed, Lady Hana. Yes, Your Majesty. I have grown in many ways. The Emperor nodded slightly. Come, we have much to discuss. The Earth delegation was taken to the royal palace for formal meetings. As they walked through the grand hallways, Hana noticed many courtiers staring at her. Some whispered behind their hands. But unlike before, she didn't feel shame. She felt proud. In the main meeting hall, the Emperor listened as Dr. June explained the medicines they had brought. Hana added technical details when needed, speaking with the confidence of a scientist, not the timidity of a disgraced wife. These treatments would not exist without Lady Hana's unique biology, Dr. June explained. Her purple scale pattern allows her body to process toxins that affect both our species. The Emperor turned to Hana. So your difference, once seen as a flaw, has proven valuable. Yes, Your Majesty, Hana replied. Sometimes what seems like a defect is actually an adaptation ahead of its time. That evening, a formal dinner was held to honor the Earth delegation. Hana was seated at the high table near the Emperor, a position of great respect. As she looked around the grand hall, she noticed something strange. Several younger Meridian nobles wore small purple accessories or had purple designs painted on their clothes. Your color appears to be becoming fashionable, Jin whispered to her. Hana nearly laughed out loud. The same purple that had once made her an outcast was now being copied by those who had rejected her. During the meal, a court official approached Hana. Lady Hana, there is someone who wishes to speak with you privately after dinner. He awaits in the small garden room, Hana had a feeling she knew who it was. Please tell him I respectfully decline. My place is with my delegation. The official looked shocked at her refusal, but bowed and left. Later, Jin asked, Who wanted to meet you? Prince Day, Hana replied. My former husband. Jin frowned. What did he want? It doesn't matter, Hana said. He has no power over me anymore. On the final day of negotiations, Hana signed the historic Earth Meridian Medical Cooperation Treaty alongside the Emperor. The agreement would allow Earth scientists to provide treatments to Meridian worlds and establish joint research facilities. As Hana wrote her name on the document, she remembered the frightened woman she had been, standing, alone on an abandoned space station. That woman could never have imagined signing treaties or developing medicines. That woman had believed she was worthless because she was different. It is done, the Emperor announced. A new chapter begins between our worlds. After the ceremony, Hana had a moment alone with the Emperor. Your Majesty, she said. May I ask a personal question? The Emperor nodded. Why did you support this treaty? Why welcome me back after I fled my husband? The Emperor looked thoughtful. The Meridian Empire has always valued useful things, Lady Hana. Your purple scales proved more useful than Prince Day's perfect appearance. He paused. And perhaps it is time our people learned that difference can be strength, not weakness. As the Earth ship prepared to leave the next day, Hana stood once more at the window looking down at the Meridian capital. She would return to Earth, to her laboratory and her new life. But she would also return here many times to continue building the bridge between worlds. Jin joined her at the window. How does it feel, coming back as an honored guest instead of a rejected wife? Hana smiled. It feels like justice. But more than that, it feels like purpose. My difference saved me, and now it might save others. The ship lifted off, rising into the star-filled sky. Hana watched as the perfect white cities grew smaller below them. Once, those cities had been a prison, of sameness where she could never belong. Now they were just one stop on her journey. Where to next, Jin asked. Everywhere, Hana replied. We have medicines to deliver, research to continue, and many more worlds to visit. She touched her purple scales gently. What was meant to destroy, me has given me the universe instead. As the ship entered space, Hana thought about the long path that had brought her here. It began with abandonment and nearly ended in death. But then a human had answered her call for help, and everything changed. Sometimes the thing that makes you different becomes the thing that makes you special. And sometimes the end of one life is just the beginning of a better one.